Hello there, warm greetings to everyone. And if you hear my voice changed, it's because I am influenced by the Dutch weather. So it influenced me, all this cycling and the rain and forgetting about protecting my pants, so pretty wet and in the wind. This is how it ends, and I wasn't sick for over a year and a half. So this may hopefully not be what the whole world is scared about right now. But for the safety, I am not meeting anyone. So I'm using this time to make another video. And since I heard so many things recently from not only world situation and about the collectiveness of being possessed, abused, misused, and also I will use the example of Britney Spears. So I will be talking today about possessions versus exorcism and modern slavery. And not in the terms of being possessed by evil spirits, because this is the connotation. But I just want to pay attention more to the keywords and how the words are actually connecting here. And we only have this connotation, probably possessions with an evil spirit, and what to do. We use exorcism on them and we try to get rid of them. So first of all, I will start with the word that comes from the Greek, and I made that note for myself. So it's exorkizein or exorkisms from Greek, which means to bind by oath. So interesting thing that possessing, being taken over by something, or as I found more synonyms, custody, dominion, occupancy, property, oh my God, this is so hard to pronounce. I'm not an English speaker, so I'm not a native. That's what I mean. Proprietorship, so tenancy, possessorship. So these are all the words, but it's also being taken by something, being strongly forced, influenced by something. And also it is connected with the abuse. Possessing, it's taking someone's energy, it's taking someone's field, space, money. It is abuse on many levels. And here I will recommend you the website. This is my source for today because it's really nicely described all the types of that abuse. And it does feel for a lot of people like being totally taken over and losing control over their life. And that word shouldn't be only related to the possessions by other energies, by the spirits or whatever, but just a human being, just another human being can also do exactly enough of harm in the name of power, money, energy, and whatever people want. So I'm using the science org. It's like SCIE org UK, and this is my source because there are exactly types of abuse there. Now, if we look at the exorcism, also exorcism is to release someone also by force, because you use the same amount of energy that was imposed on you in the first place, no more than that, because then you actually are losing energy if you overly going and using more energy. So but it has to be equal force. If you delegate, it's not going to work. And exorcism, it means to divorce. It means to divorce, and many people use that in the ritual, of course. If they think they are possessed by other entities, they also say this command like, I divorce you, or I let you go, I release you, I'm released. And those things are also working on a psychological level for people who are in such a state of mind or in such a situation that acting out in the world. It is difficult due to different types of law restrictions, and they have to first start with their mind in order to be able to proceed. So big congratulations actually to Britney Spears, who was able to sound so good, sound so reasonable, and someone who would take all those drugs, especially those psychotropics, heavy drugs, is really not able to do that. And after everything what she went through, to be able to find that moment of clarity is actually something telling me that's enormously strong person and enormously strong artist. And we have a lot more certain examples, but this one is coming out recently, and it's a pretty big thing, and a lot of people voting for her. So she managed, and she will come to terms, to have her human rights. So coming back to this topic about possessing and exorcism, and the keywords of that, how you bind someone, how you take over someone, and then by exorcism you are taking, you release yourself, or you are leaving, or you divorce someone or some situation or some energy, something you are in the field of something influential that is harming to you. These things are most of the times happening to those, actually to all of us, but most of the times it happens to those of us who were more mistreated from early childhood, or programmed, living in a certain society, forcing us to do things against our will when we didn't develop yet our being assertive. So it's more likely to happen to less assertive people, or very, very young minds that are shaped. And these types of abuse are so detailed. It is not only like a typical abuse happening in the family, beating up, or human trafficking, or considering the races. That side actually carefully mentions all types of them, and I won't read all of that. I actually won't read it at all. I'm just going to mention to you the key messages here, what kind of things you may come across. It's not only hitting someone at home, or physical abuse by doing something, punching, biting, pushing. It is also punishments. Physical punishment, or not allowing people to get out of the house. So we are basically in the world now collectively, we were recent months dealing with sort of, this kind of situation. And I'm not saying this is an abuse, but it feels, it is influencing our psyche powerfully. But in case that is an abuse, and someone is not allowed to leave the house or do whatever they want to do, that is influencing neurologically our way of thinking, and influencing someone to more likely become depressed. So isolating someone, also sedating with medication or over medication. And when I'm reading that, of course, that reminds me everything what I heard about Britney Spears and whatever she was saying to the judge. And she sounded so calm, so concrete, so reasonable that it was pretty amazing, and very, very clear. And her voice was she was speeding up, but the interesting part was that someone who was forced for such a very, very long time to do different things and work, because that is also another type of abuse, to be forced to work. Someone like that who heard to slow down, that is a sort of a pressure for this person to slow down, when that was probably for the very first time after a long time, to be able to express herself freely and with the clarity. Putting that pressure, she was so conscious that she actually sped up. I really admire that. That proves only how integrated she sounded, and how conscious and aware she was about herself. She could pick up those nuances pretty quickly, even though she wanted to introduce everything what happened to her. So another type of abuse is domestic violence and abuse, and you have it on every possible level: psychological, sexual, financial, emotional, and of course physical. And emotional, psychological, it is about so many things. It is so complex. It's also by threats of abandonment. It's preventing someone from meeting their religious or cultural needs, expression of choice or opinion. And of course, everything what is stated here, I am comparing to that, to Britney Spears, who is courageous right now and is fighting for her rights. But it is happening to a lot of celebrities. And it's also happening to regular human beings, just not know at all, but fighting their lonely sometimes fight in the families or societies or places at work. And it has enormous effect on their life in the future and how they will be able to deal with whatever comes at them. So that enforcement, that abuse on every possible level, it is a form of influencing, possessing, taking away something from you, your space, your energy, your like someone wants to feed on the portions of your aura and forcing you to do things you don't want to do on every possible level. But it's also ignoring, threatening you to leave you, threatening you also financially, that exactly what happened to her, that she won't be paid if she won't work. And this is so ironic thing, because for me and probably for many people it's obvious that she should be able to do a lot of things in her life and live her life instead of being something that we can easily call modern slave. And I do not understand how that could be even an issue for the judge, for any judge. So there are a lot of financial and material abuse that happen to people, denying them assistance because they have no money, or they don't have financial status or race, or they are not paid directly, or they are avoided to be paid. That happens also to a lot of artists, freelancers, when people are using their service but then they don't pay in time, they are using any kind of excuses, and so on. It's also something that it's someone forcing you to work and creating sort of debt that you never will be able to pay off, because you are proven that so many things cost so much that actually from the contract that you made, maybe some millions, maybe not, you actually paid more for the traveling expenses and hotels and so on. The modern abuse, it's exactly not only the human trafficking, but also forcing people to work. And this is the system also in the corporations world, where people work too many hours, they are exhausted, but because there is this force, this psychological sort of in the air feeling that everybody has to work, they cannot leave from the work because the bosses won't be happy, or they are threatening you with being fired. This is another type, how we are taken over by system, by sort of situations, by other people having control over us due to certain things. And that organizational institution is also not providing medical care, not responding to the abuse also between co-workers appropriately, and lack of respect, of course. And a lot of and there was a lot already happening in the world when the big corporations were abusing their workers, their employees. And also there is kind of abuse where you are omitted, you are not acknowledged, you are not visible, you're not seen, you are ignored. And these are happening in the social connections, social contacts with other people don't want you in their circle. They just don't answer you, then they don't talk to you, they don't look at you. And they can just easily isolate you from the group, not including you in their task, in their activities, and so on. So all of these things, it feels like being taken over, being controlled by other force. And I don't really care if people are believing in evil spirits, because a lot of people also do think that that is just evil, that's something else, and this is far more complex. You may have a similar feelings exactly from that, to not have a free choice, free will in order to do something due to different circumstances that due to lack of consciousness, lack of knowledge, or also by force, by situations or raising up, bringing up, you were put, and it's very hard to get out, because at the first time the people don't know they are in those situations. They don't know their rights. They don't know how to even start to thinking about freeing themselves. So I'm going to also mention that, how to get out, because the victim of an abuse very often comes into the role of being an oppressor. And if not address that shadow consciously, some of the people tend to vent and tend to be, I'm sorry, this is a cat, so I have to be a little bit cautious here. So some of the people tend to vent or revenge on someone who hurt them, and they are directing their life force in a completely wrong way and losing it, instead of using it toward creating something else, or just simply getting back what they supposed to have and get, financial supports, medical care, and so on. So what is recommended more is to start to ask the right kind of questions to those who didn't pay you, didn't do the right things. The more you educate yourself about your rights, about people who know what to do, and creating that group of people who can support you in the circle, the faster you can learn and you can go over it. Okay, you're not supposed to walk on the table. I'm sorry for that. So another thing is, for those who are already addressing the issue on a very fundamental way, with asking the questions, going psychologically, finding out in the groups, educating themselves. There are also those who are meditating, who are working on an energetical level, and I'm going to address that. So we know from the heart math, and there were a lot of research about it, that heart is one of the most powerful tool when we can extend our aura, our sort of integration within ourselves, our energy field, and this usually helps the people to come back to themselves, to stay grounded. And also people who are going out and being in the field when the energy is a little bit bigger, they can extend their aura. So that's through spreading the hands, for example. And you're not gonna see that perhaps here, but if I think that I extend my hand even further away, I'm thinking about energetically, then I am extending also energetically my aura. Those people who are dancers, they can easily do that. So I believe that Britney Spears is spiritual, and she does that. And she taps into her spiritual powers in order to go through for that period of time. And whatever is going to happen on the other side, always the step forward is always building up something to the personal power of the person. So I truly believe that, but don't believe me. Check it out and verify for yourself. So this is also expounding, and you probably know already, some of you, that those people who take care of their environment and they create more space in their environment, doesn't have to be a sanctuary or a church, but you well know, every one of you, that kings and queens, they had this majesty because the space was so huge, and they tend to have this expansion of auras. They had this certain emanation of their presence, and there is something to it, because if you do live in chaos, if you are abused, but you also live with many people who are abusing you, you cannot really extend your aura, come back to your peace. And as always, when people ask me about it, I always suggest a physical distance and working on that, because that is the first thing to come back to yourself, to stay alone and feel your own self, because those people are usually empaths and kind people, those abused, before they turn into revenging and they finally find their power. And sometimes they can go overboard with the willing to revenge, with the writing, with fighting for their rights. It always takes a while before we come back to the middle within us and do the right thing. So anything can happen. The more conscious person is, the less it will be venting, and the more we'll be focusing how to get what he wants. So for example, I had that also, because when I'm reading tarot cards, some of the clients in the past didn't pay me, or didn't want to pay me, or try to find excuses. And it is still happening that people do that. There are such people out there, and you do not have to vent about it or become a victim of it. But the right response, for example, in this situation, would be to write a message to this person: this is what you should do, this is something for you to fix, because I offered you a service. And of course you leave it to that person. Then the consequences, energetical consequences of every action and reaction are out there. Energy is smart, and energy will take care of it for you. And there is also another thing, that you are also not expounding your life force, your energy. You're doing the right thing, and you're not staying in the role of the victim when you are taking care of your business, or you are reminding certain people to fulfill what they promised, their end of the deal. So anytime I have this kind of questions, what to do with those people who didn't pay, and these are people, of course, freelancers, who have sort of jobs when they work, and then they are not paid, or they are paid later on within the months with a lot of excuses. So that is still unfortunately happening to a lot of artists, and that is also a form of abuse, and form of taking your little bit, trying to take your space, your privacy. And for that reason, some shamans are also creating those protection. You can paint it, they call it in a different way, and it has a lot within us to be assertive. And assertiveness is another topic. I did a video about it already, so you can find it somewhere there. I was talking about it one of past months, and but just shortly here, when the nuances here are in so many things, because assertiveness comes also with knowing yourself and your needs. Every time you find out your certain needs, you are very likely and precise with your borders, with settling your borders and saying exactly what do you need. So that will be it for now. That would be the remedy. So always the proper response to reaction. asking the right kind of question, educating yourself, expounding within the heart, emanating of that grounding within yourself, meditating, and so following that energetical practice. You can call it spiritual, you can call it esoteric, but it's this internal practice before you go out there into the world to act. And also it's probably, I would say, it's more recommended to start to do that internally first before you go out there and you ask for your rights, to first imagine and visualize within yourself what you are receiving, how you are getting, and how you are going to feel about it. And then is the time for the proper actions. I believe that Britney Spears, in this case, she did her spiritual work, because you can hear it from her tone, you can hear it from her expression, and I truly hope and wish her that she will find the right kind of people around her, so her aura is stronger and she can prosper and she can be her true self, how she wants to be. I am wishing you, whoever hears it, all the great day and few reflections. Let me know if that was concrete, if that was helpful. If you do not agree, please write your points, because maybe, perhaps, very likely, I missed something. But I just wanted to mention how we have these words, this exorcism, possession, how it's happening in the modern world, how it's more psychological than just one connotation with the evil world, words, evil spirits or something like that. Like how this is normal. Well, it's abnormal, of course, but it is happening every day on a different levels. And this is this modern evil, I would say. So let me know what you think about it. I'm wishing you a wonderful day, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you're not already, and please pass this so I can reach more English speaking people and hopefully assist those who are dreaming or conscious or oracles, and maybe that content here can also assist you. Thank you very much and have a great day.